Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that every large animal on Earth had vanished overnight. No elephants, no whales, no bears, just gone. That's exactly what happened 66 million years ago. Except the animals that vanished were dinosaurs. For 165 million years, they were the undisputed rulers of Earth. Then, in the geological blink of an eye, they were gone. This is the story of the worst day in Earth's history, and the incredible survivors who lived to tell the tale. The late Cretaceous period was the golden age of dinosaurs. Tyrannosaurus Rex ruled North America. 7 tons of pure muscle and teeth. Its jaw could generate 12,000 pounds of bite force, strong enough to crush solid bone. Triceratops was built like a living tank. 3 horns, a massive frill, and a beak that could slice through the toughest plants. They traveled in herds for protection, raising their young together. Hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs, grazed in massive herds of thousands. Their complex nasal passages could create calls that echoed for miles. In the skies, pteranodons soared on winds high above the surface. With wingspans over 20 feet, they were the largest flying creatures to ever exist. In the oceans, Mosasaurus was the apex predator, a 50-foot marine reptile with jaws powerful enough to crush anything. Plesiosaurs, with their long necks, hunted fish in the shallow seas. This was their world. Dinosaurs occupied every possible habitat on Earth. From the hot equatorial jungles to the cooler polar regions, they were everywhere. The planet was warm, the continents were different shapes, and dinosaurs had been dominant for longer than mammals had even existed. There was no reason to think this would ever change. But in space, something was approaching. An asteroid roughly 6 miles in diameter, about the size of Mount Everest. It had been traveling through space for millions of years, and it was heading directly for Earth at 45,000 miles per hour. On what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, it was an ordinary day. Dinosaurs were going about their normal routines, hunting, grazing, raising young. They had no idea what was about to happen. The asteroid entered Earth's atmosphere. For a few seconds, it was brighter than the sun. Then it struck. The impact released more energy than all the nuclear weapons on Earth today combined, multiplied by 100,000. A crater 100 miles wide formed instantly. Rock vaporized, the ocean boiled. Tsunamis as tall as skyscrapers raced across the ocean at 600 miles per hour. But the real danger was what went up. Trillions of tons of pulverized rock and debris were thrown into the atmosphere. Within hours, the sky turned dark across the entire planet. The sun was blocked completely. Day became perpetual twilight. Temperatures began to drop immediately. In weeks, average temperatures fell by 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stopped. Plants that had thrived for millions of years began to wither. The massive herbivores that depended on them had nothing to eat. Sauropods needed 400 pounds of vegetation daily just to survive. Now there was none. The herbivores began to perish first, and with no herbivores to hunt, the predators followed. The darkness persisted. Some scientists believe it lasted over 10 years. Temperatures stayed frigid, acid rain fell from polluted skies. The food chain collapsed from the bottom up. 75% of all species on Earth disappeared. But some creatures survived, and their survival strategies were remarkable. Crocodiles and their relatives made it through. Their metabolism could slow dramatically. They could go months without eating. They also had the ability to shut down most body functions, essentially hibernating. Turtles survived using similar strategies. Their hard shells provided protection. Their slow metabolism meant minimal food requirements. Some species could even absorb oxygen through their skin while underwater, avoiding toxic surface air. Small mammals survived by living underground. Their burrows protected them from temperature extremes and harmful atmospheric conditions. Being small meant they needed very little food. They could survive on insects, seeds, and roots that persisted underground. Birds survived as well. They were descendants of small feathered dinosaurs. Their ability to fly meant they could search vast areas for whatever food remained. And like mammals, their small size meant minimal food requirements. In the oceans, sharks continued to thrive. The deep ocean maintained relatively stable temperatures. Food chains there persisted. Fish populations survived in sufficient numbers to sustain predators. Amphibians like frogs and salamanders survived in water and mud. They could enter dormant states, essentially suspending life processes until conditions improved. Insects survived almost everywhere due to their small size and adaptability. Many could survive on minimal nutrition. Others produced eggs that remained dormant for years. Some burrowed into soil or wood, riding out the darkness underground. Slowly, over thousands of years, conditions began to improve. The debris settled, the ash fell to earth, and finally, after years of darkness, the sun returned. That first sunrise must have been spectacular. With sunlight came new plant growth. Ferns appeared first, then mosses, then flowering plants. But slowly the landscape began to recover, and the survivors began to flourish in this new world. With the giant dinosaurs gone, mammals evolved rapidly to fill empty niches. Within 10 million years, mammals ranged from tiny shrews to massive ground-dwelling herbivores. Primates eventually appeared in the trees. And from primates, millions of years later, humans evolved. None of this would have been possible if dinosaurs still ruled Earth. The asteroid that ended the age of dinosaurs created the age of mammals. It was the worst day in Earth's history, but also, in a way, the most important. Because that day of fire and darkness and extinction led directly to us. The dinosaurs ruled for 165 million years. We've only been here for 300,000. In cosmic terms, we just arrived. And every bit of it, every mammal, every bird, every part of the world we know,